how to read and write files in Python. First, we have this function called open, and open, it does, when you enter open and you enter something inside like a string, this is the path of your file that you want to open, and if you don't specify anything, it's gonna read it for you. So we don't really add anything like mode. The default one is read. This is the default one if we don't specify anything, and the way we print the content of the file is by calling the file that we created and then read. And then we have to close the file, and we can read it in multiple ways. We can write readline, and you can specify how many characters you want to read, and it seems that the default value is -1, which is all of the file. And we have readlines, which returns a list on each line break, depending on the content inside the file we are reading. And now when we want to write something inside a document or inside a file, we can enter mode and then we enter W, and then file.write, and then we enter whatever we want to enter, like whatever, just enter anything, and it will write. It will return the length of the string that we have entered. And now we can see that we didn't close the file, so we need to close it to save our changes. And now we run it. Now we can see that it has created 3 curly braces, but it will delete all the content inside the text file because the mode W write, which means write, it will delete everything inside the file and it will write from scratch. The mode A, which is append, it will write and it will keep the existing content inside the text file. And now when we run it, we can see that it has appended a at the end bit. And we have mode X, which creates only a file once. So if it exists, it will throw an error. We can create a new file, and now it has created a new file called virus2.txt. And if you want to read and write, you should use R+, and now we can read and write at the same time. Because if we didn't specify it, we'll get an error that we can't really write if we are only using read mode. Or write plus does the same thing, but it won't write the content of the file because we didn't save the changes. So after saving the changes, we need to open it again and read it. It's not really helpful because it's gonna delete all the content inside the file anyway. And that's why we need to use the with, which is the recommended way of doing it, because it closes the file automatically. We don't really need to close the file manually each time. Notice that when we use the read plus mode, we get the text we write, it gets appended at the start of the file. So it deletes the content of it if there was any content. It doesn't append the text. And now we can see that it has deleted some content depending on what was inside of the file. And when it reads it, it only reads the old content that was inside. So after writing, you need to open another one. You need another open instance. So we need to open it again and read the file after writing or updating. Unless you go into A+ mode, but it still doesn't show the content. So you need an instance. So it doesn't make sense to use appending plus reading. Maybe in some occasion it does. And this is how we do it basically. We open once for appending or writing or whatever, and then we open one for reading. And this is a better way and more robust way of reading and writing to file. And there is binary mode, which isn't really that useful. You can do it this way. And one last important thing was the encoding, which is very important. Usually we use UTF-8, or there's a new way in Python 3.10. You can use just locale or local, and it will choose your local encoding in your system. And you can check it like this. You can import locale and locale, or locale, I don't know how do you say it, local, and you call the function get encoding and you get something right here. And you can check what it means. It doesn't, on most system, on most Windows system, it's UTF-8, but use locale here instead.